The media hype surrounding Bronny and his potential NBA career might end up being a double-edged sword for the young player. While Bronny possesses reasonable amount of talent, the weight of his famous last name could be too big of a challenge to bear. In today's video, we're evaluating Bronny's prospects of succeeding in the NBA and breaking down his first season in the league. Let's dive straight in. The biggest question surrounding Bronny is regarding his actual basketball skills. Can he really play in the NBA? If you take a look at his 1 year in college, during his 25 games with USC last season, Bronny averaged 4.8 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game, shooting 36.6% from the field and only 26.7% from beyond the arc. After his season debut on December 10th, following a cardiac arrest in July, he did not show notable progress. In his final 8 games, where he played between 11 and 22 minutes per game, his performance remained underwhelming. Just take a glance at this table. Colorado 2 points, UCLA 2 points, Washington State 2 points, Washington 0 points, Arizona State 0 points, Arizona 5 points, Washington 7 points, Arizona 3 points. Coach Andy Enfield had a really good personal relationship with Bronny and no reason to restrict his playing time besides Bronny's basketball limitations. Had Bronny been a standout college player, he could have attracted more fans to the Galen Center and enhanced the team's NCAA tournament hopes. Instead, USC ended the season with a 15-18 record overall and an 8-12 record in the Pac-12, which is nothing to be excited about. In other words, Bronny was an average player on a struggling team. Moreover, Bronny's chances for a successful career are not helped by his lack of exceptional height or athleticism. At just over 6'1", he wasn't regarded as the top player on his high school team in Los Angeles. However, there is a silver lining. College statistics are not necessarily indicative of future success once a player begins training with NBA coaches and players, which are sometimes worlds apart. There's a perfect example of a player having an average college career only to become a future Hall of Famer. Take a look at these stats. Asterisk show table. Points 8.3. Assists 2.5. Rebounds 2.4. You know who they belong to? Russell Westbrook. During his 75 games with UCLA, Russ demonstrated his athleticism and physical gifts, but there were concerns about his performance at the professional level, particularly his shooting. However, he significantly improved this aspect of his game in years that followed. While no one is predicting that Bronny James will have the same path as Westbrook, the key takeaway is that college performance isn't the ultimate predictor of NBA success. If it were, we wouldn't see as many hyped college players disappoint in the NBA. Bronny's main strengths are his shooting and solid defense, which are crucial in today's game that heavily emphasizes on three-point shooting. There's a shortage of defensive guards who can effectively challenge opposing playmakers, so that could also work greatly in his favor. Take Tony Allen's career, for example. Despite his poor shooting, he was renowned for his defensive abilities, consistently preventing his opponents from getting easy points. The Lakers will need patience, but his defensive skills will likely earn him playing time early on, at least against some of the weaker teams. Bronny had a solid defensive impact on the Trojans, despite them being a below 500 team in a very mediocre season. Despite their lack of success, this team was the most talented Bronny had played with, featuring Isaiah Collier, who went 29th in the first round to Utah Jazz, and the nation's third-best recruiting class. The only other occasions Bronny played with comparable talent were at the McDonald's All-American Game and the Hoop Summit, which is typical given the caliber of players invited to these events. Bronny's supporters highlight his Hoop Summit performance as evidence of his potential, where he scored 11 points, grabbed 4 rebounds, and recorded 1 block and 1 steal coming off the bench for Team USA last April. Is that enough to predict his future? Certainly not. However, it does indicate that he can compete with top players. The key question is the level he'll ultimately reach. An anonymous GM shared insights about Bronny's defense in an interview with The Ringer. On the ball, James is quick laterally and makes a strong effort to stay in his stance while mirroring his opponent. Although we can critique his technique when navigating screens, any defensive flaws are easily fixable given his intelligence and effort. Size is really his only defensive limitation. If he were truly 6'4" or taller, his potential would be exceptional. So, what does this mean? It means he needs to spend more time in the gym, that's for sure. To offset his lack of size, Bronny will need to build either strength or speed and ensure he becomes a defensive powerhouse. If he evolves into a 3-and-D player, he could carve out a successful career in the league. Perhaps the biggest challenge Bronny faces is the immense pressure placed on him. As LeBron's son, he's been under the media spotlight since childhood, and that's a difficult burden to bear, regardless of public statements. Even LeBron, unintentionally, has added to this pressure. His comments about wanting to play with his son have shifted focus from Bronny's own skills to the prospect of teams recruiting him to attract LeBron. Now that he's a Laker, LeBron and Bronny will probably be the most watched duo ever. The TV numbers are projected to break all the records if they start side by side. However, there's still a big shadow over his name. Can Bronny James achieve the same superstar status as his father? The answer is, hell no. And that's perfectly fine, despite what many sports analysts might say. LeBron has accomplished feats in the league that may never be matched, making it incredibly challenging for Bronny to live up to such an extraordinary legacy. Even if Bronny consistently scores 20 points and grabs 10 rebounds each game, he would likely face criticism rather than praise, with people emphasizing that he hasn't surpassed his father. The reality is, very few will ever surpass LeBron, who has played alongside numerous greats and remained the league's icon well into his late 30s. If Bronny carves out a name for himself in the league, he'll be competing with or playing alongside young stars like Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, Alperen Sengun, and Anthony Edwards, who will dominate the next era of basketball. While Bronny might not reach the level of these star players, he has the potential to be an invaluable sidekick. Standing at 6 feet 1 inch, he may not be Trae Young, but he certainly isn't without talent. Bronny might not be destined to become an NBA superstar, but that doesn't preclude him from being an excellent role player. Looking ahead 5 to 10 years, assuming Bronny remains in the league, he is likely to thrive in this capacity, regardless of the team he plays for. It's hard to envision Bronny as a primary offensive option, but with enhanced three-point shooting and strong defense, he could be a crucial component of a championship team. Many players with less talent have found their place in the NBA. Beyond his basketball skills, Bronny's lack of ego stands out as a significant asset. From his public statements and demeanor, it's clear he doesn't expect respect simply because he's LeBron's son. Bronny understands the need to earn respect, a mentality that fosters healthy competition in the locker room, which is exactly what you want from role players, to support your stars and make their jobs easier. If we were to compare Bronny to another player, Gary Payton II comes to mind. Both are similar in height, both have fathers who were NBA legends, and their playing styles are comparable. While Bronny has a way to go to reach Payton II's level, it's worth noting that Gary Payton II's journey included time in the G League before becoming an NBA champion with the Warriors in 2022. This path highlights the potential for Bronny to develop into a valuable player in his own right. His performance was precisely what you'd expect from a solid role player, especially in Game 5 of the Finals against the Celtics. While Steph and Klay often grab the headlines, its contributions from players like Gary Payton Jr., Jeff Green, Bryce Brown, and others that can truly make a difference. Even if Bronny started his career in the G League, it wouldn't be a disaster. However, given LeBron's significant influence, that scenario is quite unlikely as long as LeBron remains active in the NBA. In the unlikely event that Bronny loses his spot in the league in the future, numerous European teams would likely welcome him with open arms due to his famous last name. Imagine clubs from Spain, Italy, Germany, or Greece having LeBron watch their games from the sidelines. Just the thought would be thrilling for them. LeBron is renowned for his business mindset, so if Bronny doesn't succeed in the NBA, the Asian market could be an enticing option. There would be opportunities far beyond basketball for both of them. Imagine all the commercials, brand endorsements, and cameo appearances in movies and TV shows. They could dominate the Asian media landscape in no time. However, these scenarios are speculative and too far ahead. The most probable outcome is Bronny getting solid minutes by the Lakers, which explains why some fans will probably be furious at LeBron, but all of it will be forgiven if they somehow manage to win constantly. Now that the Lakers have drafted Bronny and hired JJ Redick as coach, LeBron will find himself with significant freedom throughout the year. They could make all the right trades and have a better season than the last, but if things go south, LeBron will likely be the one at whom all the fingers will be pointed. Adding to the intrigue, LeBron will be a free agent for the first time since 2018, so it'll be interesting to see what type of contract he signs. He has already stated it isn't about the money anymore. So could this mean a big pay cut in order to attract another star and go for another run at the title? If NBA can do one thing, it's to blow us away with the most unexpected scenarios. Last year, everyone was putting Lillard in Miami, and then bam, he was wearing Bucks jersey. Dallas was flirting with the play-ins for most of the season, but improved later on and found their way to the finals. Who knows what type of season will Lakers have? After all, NBA is where amazing happens. So given all the circumstances and the drama regarding other franchises like Warriors, Heat, and Wolves, we're guaranteed to have probably the most entertaining season in recent history of the league. That's it for today, dear friends. Thank you for staying this far with us, and feel free to share your thoughts on how far will the Lakers go now that Bronny and JJ Redick are parts of the franchise. It's a pleasure to bring you basketball stories, so if you support the channel by pressing the subscribe button, you'll help us have more time and resources for more research and better videos. See you in the next one. Peace out.